Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Design to Build. Today we are going to be building some parts for my mini drone. Today we're going to show you how to draw a SMA, which that is. This is off a little mini drone. This is the type of connector. And I want to build a 3D printed part that's going to go right here on the back side of my quad at an angle. So the first few things you need to get. You're going to need to get you a set of dowel calipers. I like these. There's little digitals. You can get dowels, whatever you want. You can pick these up at Harbor Freight. They're great. Always make sure that you're zeroing your part. You can work off inches or millimeters, either way you want to go. If you want to know how we kind of come up with some stuff, first off, you need to get a few measurements to start your drawing. I am using Google SketchUp here, and I'm going to show you how we got this information. So I get a little piece of paper, and I don't know how well this is going to show up, but we've got a couple dowels here, and we've taken a few measurements. Make sure my caliber 0, we want to cross. Now, I measure at the base of these things, and to make sure that I'm getting what it needs. So it looks like 144. I had wrote 145. So 1 inch, 0.44. Okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to measure the inside of this, and you're going to measure the outside, and then you're going to measure one of these poles. Okay? To be able to figure out where center is on these things right here, you want to know where your center post is. All you need is this one measurement and to be able to go from there. Now, I do have outside dimensions and inside dimensions and post size. And so if you can see here, I've got 145 here, 145. And let's double check. And I always double check my measurements. So let's again here. Make sure it's all 0. I'm measuring at that base. Yeah. 144 there. And 105 there. Okay, if I want to know where center is between all this, basically what you need to do is have two numbers. Either, most of the time, it's the inside number. So I want to know the inside measurement between these two posts and our outer dimensions. So I'm going to take this inside measurement, and I'm going to measure 1.05, and then I'm just going to add one post, not two of them, but one, because that's going to be divided between two. Now keep in mind, when you divide that, that's going to give you your center post measurement. And so then I just say 0.20, just going to add that, 0.20, and it's going to tell me that from center to center of these posts is 1.25 inches between these to the center of each post. And now we're going to take it to the drawing. Now, you also want to get a few other measurements. You want to know the height of this build. So you can take the end of your calipers and put it right here, and you can get a measurement. That looks like about 0.77. We don't need it an exact. I mean, you can get it really, really close. Let's just say, for example, our post height is, we'll just make it, give it a little bit of play, because 3D printing is not 100% right on the dot. Let's just say the height on this thing is 0. Let's just say 0.75. Just, we're going to give this thing a little bit of movement in there to compensate that. Now, this measurement on this post that we took from back right here, I know it says it's 0.119. When I 3D print it, I'm going to print that thing at, say, 0.21. So here's our few measurements that we're going to need. We're going to need to know our center point measurements, which is 1.25, and then we're going to need our post dimension, which was going to be just say 0.75. So, and our height would be 0.75. And that's kind of where I start off. I start off with a scratch piece of paper. I know this looks like a crazy slobby. You got to work with what you can do. Don't worry about what everybody else is. If you can understand your own language, then go for it. But get you a piece of paper and sketch this stuff. So we got a couple base measurements. Now, what do you want to think about when you get ready to print is I'm going to build a sleeve that's going to go over this guy. And it's going to slide over top of it with a bracket in the middle. It's going to fit. Now, I want to think, how thick do I want this to go around all this? And you want to make sure that you got plenty of space. So, if we, say we, let's see here. I'm just eyeballing it. I want it to be strong enough that it's not going to blow out. Remember, that's going to be your thickness of your wall. So, let's just say 0.30. Okay? 0.30 on our height, on our post size. And draw a circle. You know what that was right here. This was, say, 0.20. Just roughing it around, or say 0.21. Something in that range. You want a little bit of giveaway. Let's just go, for example, 0.21. We're going to give a little bit so that can slide over top of this. Now, there's going to be another circle on the outside. And that circle on the outside is going to be 0.30. Okay? Then with some quick math, you can know how thick that outside wall is. So we're going to step right into Google SketchUp right here, and we're going to start drawing this. I'm going to show you how we draw these parts. We'll get right onto it. Alrighty, now that we're in SketchUp, we need to set up a few things in here. We're going to go to Model Info, and I'm going to work off dimensional in this drawing. And we're going to start off on our center section of our drawing. This is where the SMA connector is going to go. I'm going to stretch a line up here to a height of 0.74. Remember, our total height of our column was 0.75. I'm giving a little bit of leeway here. This is, 3D printer is not exactly precise measurements. They get them close, but not perfect. We're going to grab our reference line, and we're going to give a little bit of thickness. And this thickness is going to be a little bit thicker than our post dimension, so we can kind of wrap our part around that, our center columns. In a few minutes, you're going to see that. Go ahead and box in your part. Once you get it all boxed in, it should turn gray. There we go. Now, grab your reference lines, and we're going to come off the top and bottom. And here in a few minutes, you're going to see this diagonal design that we're going to put in here. This is going to create the angle for the antenna to come. Instead of coming straight out the backside, it's going to come, out a certain decent grade. I haven't figured out a good grade of it, but I want a decent little angle to it. And now at this point, we're just going to throw in some lines, just connect the dots. Now you want to box this in. This is going to be the top flat of it and the bottom flat of it. Now you want to start to, let's see here. I'm just kind of sketching around. I'm just going to see how this feels. I want to, I'm not for sure where I'm going to go with this. We'll take out a few lines in here. We're going to go ahead and delete out some of this. And remember, if it always doesn't work out for you, you can always back up and redo it. And, I'm just playing around here at this point. You don't have to be precise. Delete out a few things. Delete out. Getting there. Alrighty. Wait a minute. This ain't right. This is not. I deleted a few things there that we shouldn't have deleted out. Alright. Go ahead and delete that out. I didn't need that line. Didn't need this. and we're going to get out the rest of this. We want this zigzag kind of pattern for our build. Delete the inner fills of those, and now you can see we have that cool little zigzag kind of shape. Get rid of our reference lines. Kind of orbit around here. Let's kind of take a look at the part. That looks really well. This is going to work. It's going to create a significant amount of angle for my antenna to stick out the back of the quad. Now, in this section of the build, we're going to start off with our post. Now, I'm going to lay down a line measurement of center to center of the post. Exactly center of the post. And that measurement ended up being in at 1.25 inches. So let's stretch our line out here and enter 125. There we go. And we're going to start putting in our post. Now we're going to put that very, right there on the edge, and that's going to be center of those posts. Okay, come on, stretch it out. There we go. We're going to enter our measurements in of 0.105, and the same thing over here, 0.105. Now, that 0.05 is not the exact thickness of your post. That it's all multiplied out, and it's going to change the value of it when you do that, when reading it with the dial calibers. So again, 0.15, if you added those together, that'd be 0.30. It's kind of the thickness that I was going for there. And you want a little bit of meat on. If you don't quite get what you want for thickness, grab your dial calibers, hold them up to your eye and look through it and say, yeah, that's going to be good enough meat. Then we're going to stretch this column up to 0.14. Grab the other one and match it the same. Now we have two posts that are directly spaced out. It was that simple. Now you want to grab your center cut section of your drawing. You're going to stretch that in there and see how that fits. You might want to stretch it out a little bit. Oop. Stretch it out. Give it a little shape. And we're going to connect these to the columns. And what I was going to tell you is that how we're going to wrap these things around it. I'm going to show you a little trick how to do this. We're going to highlight the part. We're going to butt it up to our post. There we go. You want to look down the center of your column. Make sure that you're not protruding through the center of the column. There's going to be a little trick here to wrap these edges around this so that this thing can connect. If you don't, it'll just fall right apart when you do a 3D print. We're going to connect it to the face side over there as well. There we go. Now here comes our little trick. What you're going to do is grab your pointer tool, click on the face side of the column, and intersect with model. What that's going to do is kind of connect all the lines inside there. We're going to two-step this thing kind of around the column. And what that's going to keep it from moving the entire part all the way through your drawing. Alright, let's grab push-pull tool again. Yep. Click on it again. Well, come on. There we go. We're going to pull it up here. There we go. Look down the center of the bore. Make sure that's clearing, which it is. And again, intersect with the model. You may have to do this several times. And that's our little two-step. We kind of stepped around the edge of that. And do the same thing over here. Intersect with the model. And then we're going to stretch a bit of that sidewall around that column. Okay, grab that. I'm going to stretch it up, not quite all the way through. And do it again. Intersect with model. And stretch it around again. Now we're getting some meat around that part. This will surely hold on together. When you do the 3D printing, 3D printing is really funny. It will understand hollowness and voids and think that's got to be in there. So when you do your drawings and you want that all to be kind of buttery smooth, you want to not have all that in there. Looks like we got rid of a line there. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our line tool and fill it in. There we go. We just basically intersected with the model and kept stretching our sidewalls around it till we got a good fit. And we're going to go ahead and delete out these excess lines, like I told you. If you don't, when you 3D print, it will absolutely think it's got to be part of it. And it'll just separate. Oop, looks like we didn't intersect with the model. Again, intersect with the face and the model. And go ahead and delete those out. And what that does is, like it finishes a lot of line segments that you didn't connect, or connects those two segments together, and then you can continue stretching it around. I'll go ahead and delete out what we can in there. Looks like we got a little void there. Go ahead and stretch that in there, and then delete those lines out. If you think you got a bunch of line segments on the inside of your part, you can always go into an X-ray mode and clean that up. There we go. That looks pretty good. Alright, a little bit over here. Okay, kind of zoom in there. Let's go ahead and click on these. Oh, we didn't intersect it with the face again. Click on the face side of it and intersect with the model. Delete, 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 and delete. We're cleaning it up, is making it as smooth as we can. We got a little bit more work down here at the bottom. And again, intersect with the model. It appears to be already done. We're going to stretch it around a little bit. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that looks real good. Ooh, nope. Go back. Yes, there you go. Right there. This thing, it doesn't have to be perfect. Each line, oh my goodness, they did not stay. Back it up. I like those forward and backward buttons. Sure does help out. Like I said, some people can want those exact measurements. Again, we're 3D printing, and this is just a structure part, so you don't have to have precise measurements. You just want it to have a form fit, and that's what we're going for. Look right there. That's going to be close enough. Again, we need to intersect with the model, and we can continue stretching it around, and that's going to keep that whole entire part from protruding through to the center of your drawing, or the center of those tubes up precise. Say, you can see how that's doing it. Do a little bit over here, intersect with the model. We're going to stretch it around again. This will help. There we go. Getting close. Just about there. Yep. Getting there. Okay, everything's looking really clean. Alright, now we need to daggone it. A little bit more. Fidgety hands today. There we go. Close enough. Alright. Now we need to create the mount, or the hole for a SMA connector to go through. Grab your line tools or your reference tools, and what you're going to do is kind of get center of this part. There we go. That looks pretty good. We may have to put a line down the center. There we go. By stretching lines, you can always remove them. And we're going to bring the reference tool. Oh, now we have where our center part's at. Grab your radius tool, or your circle tool, and you're going to stretch that out to the desired measurement, which ended up being at 114. And there we go. Now we'll delete that out. And we're going to pop a hole right through this entire part with our stretch tool. We'll pull it out, swing it around, and connect it to the face side, and bam. If you do that right, it should absolutely delete that entire part right out. And that's it. That looks like we're getting close. Delete a little bit more, keeping that part very fluid. Alright, get rid of our reference lines. And that looks great. That is about what we need. I think we're really close. Absolutely. We can highlight the part, go to File, and export it to STL. And you get that add-on on DFX, and use STL. Click on OK, and then we're going to save our file. Name it. No, not that. SMA.stl. You might want to write that in there, because when you go back to put it in your printer, it may not accept it. Alright, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Alright guys, there you go. We have finished up printing our 3D printed part. There's another episode of Design to Build. I've shown you how to do the steps to build a SMA 3D printed quad mount for the antenna, and you can see it fits nicely over top these antennas. There's nothing loose, nothing too snug. Everything fits fairly well. Things can be fairly simple. Think of SketchUp as a piece of paper. Don't think of it as a CAD tool. I use the tool to send it to the printer and get it going, but sometimes get in there just freehanding and not just coming up with measurements. Just every little measurement sometimes just doesn't work for your drawing. So sometimes I just kind of draw around that part. I just add a line here and I add a line there, add a little thickness here. Sometimes it may require 2 or 3 prints to get it where you need it to be at. You hope for the best to be able to get to 1 print, but that is not necessarily the case. I don't know what I did with my other parts, but what I ended up coming down to, I ended up printing this 3 different times and finding out a few little flaws that I needed to get. But for the most part, my studs fit just perfectly. What I had biggest problem is getting the correct angle for this antenna to set nicely in there, and I came up with a fix, and none of it wasn't done by measurement. It was just kind of by eyeball, by doing it on SketchUp. I still got our parts kind of setting up here, and I'll kind of scoot out of the way. You can still see our finished part, and that's it. That's it. That's all we had to do to this thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll be having more videos to come. We do have a big project coming up soon, so wait. Please come to our channel to find out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Until the next time, peace out.